Alright, welcome to the first episode of whatever the fuck this is called, where I make a ramen pizza in response to the ramen pizza made by 8-Bit Eric that looked like a big pile of shit. And here are all of the utensils that you need from your mom's kitchen to make the ramen pizza. And here's all of the food that you need to make the ramen pizza that you can obtain from the corner store. Alright, so now that we've done the little amount of prep work that we need to do, there's two things. First, you have to boil a pot of water for the ramen, because we're going to boil it before we put it in the frying pan. And we're going to put the frying pan on medium heat so we can cook up the hot dogs, because they're not going to be on the pizza that long. So that goes there, put it on medium heat, and then the dog stares at you. So we're using 3 packages of ramen, so get a big enough pot and make sure you don't put too much water so they'll all fit in. And now let's let the water boil. Alright, so while we're waiting for the water to boil, we're going to take 2 eggs and break them into a mixing bowl while trying to not get too much of the eggshell also in the mixing bowl. But, I mean, you're making it for yourself, so fuck it. If you want eggshells, that's fine. I know there's a little bit in there. So you take 2 eggs and the 3 packets of seasoning that you have. And if you have egg all over your hand and can't open it, you should still have your knife from cutting up the hot dogs. You can never open these things. So pour the 3 packets in with the eggs. Like so. All the while making a mess of your mom's kitchen. And the mom I'm referring to is specifically 8-Bit Eric's mom. So mix it all in there. Do you want to come in so you can see this? That's my cameraman Joshua Pothier, who's also in my band. Now this looks pretty fucking disgusting, so you have to beat it real hard. There's a joke there, I'm sure. We're better than that. You're better than that. We are collectively better than that. Anyway, so you've got this sludge, and we're going to mix that all together later, so put that to the side, and we'll get back to it after we boil the noodles. Fry up your hot dogs. So the hot dogs are finished cooking. We're going to leave it on medium heat just so it's hot when we need it. The water's boiling. Now, where the other instruction video kind of fucked this up is don't break these up. We need them to stay together so when we mix them together later, they can stay together like a piece of pizza because it's supposed to be like a pizza. So we're going to just put them in as is. Hopefully they all fit. And if they don't fit, once they boil, they'll loosen up and get in the pot. The shit's boiling now, so we're gonna strain it with a strainer, or you can just use a lid, or dump it in the sink and dig it out by hand. This will wash all the goo off. And get it nice and drained. Then we put it into the big mixing bowl, and this is where we get the egg mixture with the flavor. So we're gonna mix this all together. Just dump it all right in there, and now you're gonna mix it together with your hands, which you've cleaned in the bathroom at your mom's house. So now that's all in there, and the egg's going to help it all stick together, but also just having the noodles long is going to help it stick together. We're going to pour the pile of shit that we just made into our non-stick pan. This way you don't have to use oil, because why would you use it if you don't need to? So make sure you have your spatula ready so that you can make it into a flat pizza-like shape. So we're just gonna pour it in there. Move it all around. Then if you just dig around the edges, once you've got it spread out, flatten it out so it all sticks together. Make sure you give yourself enough room on the edges if you can, because we're going to have to flip it later. We need to cook it on both sides. Alright, so that's pretty much what it should look like to cook on that side. It takes probably like 3 or 4 minutes. Because there's egg in it, you got to be careful that this side doesn't burn, because the egg's all going to go down to the bottom. This is going to be the top when we flip it, and this will be the bottom. Ready to flip this over now. You just want to take your spatula and go around the edges to make sure that it's loosened up from the bottom. This is a pretty decent non-stick pan, so as you can see it kind of goes around. But it's all staying in one piece. You don't want to leave this side on too long, because most of the egg, like I said, ran to the bottom, and you want to make sure it doesn't burn. But because it's still not super solid, it's really hard to flip. So I find the best thing to do is to just get a cutting board and flip it onto the cutting board and then drop it back in to the frying pan, which I'm going to try and do right now. So that works surprisingly well. And now, hey, there it is. So this is what it looks like now. Now we're gonna, while that other side cooks, we're gonna put the cheese on the top now. And I like cheese, like Tyler the Creator and any other reasonable human. So just put it on there. I mean, I'm trying to stay away from the edges so that it looks like a pizza, but the other thing too is that frying pan cheese kind of sucks, so it's nice to make sure that you don't fuck it all up. And then you put your meat on there, which, again, I'm sure there's a great joke for that, but this is a children's show. Is it? I don't know. Yeah, just dump all that shit on there. This doesn't look as good as the last one I made because you don't deserve it to look good. What's wrong with you? Now we're going to leave that for probably like another 5-7 minutes until it gets crispy on the other side. And then we're going to cut it. Alright, so it's been an unspecified amount of time. We're going to take this off and put it back on the cutting board so that we can cut it on the cutting board. So here it is. If you look around the edges, you can see it's all kind of together. It looks somewhat like a pizza, as much as you can imagine ramen. Everybody loves ramen. Ramen would look like pizza. I'm going to use my Enterprise pizza cutter because that's the most appropriate thing. You can hear it crunching because it's nice and cooked. And would you look at that? You got slices of pizza. So we're going to let it cool because the cheese is still really hot. And then we'll show you what it looks like on a plate and describe the taste flavor without saying all right again. You can see that it actually looks like a piece of pizza. It's still a bit floppy, but you can kind of pick it up. If you leave it in the fridge, it hardens because, I mean, it's ramen, and then it actually is as solid as a piece of pizza. It's super greasy because of the shitty cheese that we used, but the flavor goes all the way through it because the flavoring and the egg, if you look at it, it's all the way through the whole thing, so it all tastes like something. And it doesn't look like a huge pile of shit. All right, so I'm here with my associate slash cameraman slash drummer Joshua Pothier, and he's going to tell you what this fucking thing actually tastes like.
It's quite good. The crispiness has been worn off a little bit since it's been sitting there, but it's quite firm. It actually almost tastes like dough. Well, it has the texture of dough. It tastes like ramen. This would be good if you're camping. It's good for house parties. You know, if you have a bunch of hobos coming over and you get $9, it's a good meal. I wouldn't necessarily put hot dogs on a pizza, but on a ramen pizza, it sort of goes well. It sort of plays into the whatever you got around the house motif.
What kind of wine would you pair this with?
It goes good with like a Pinot Gris, maybe a Malbec, like a 1972 maybe. Or if you have like gin and rum and Kahlua in your cupboards, just mix them all together. I think it would be good. Any booze you can find really would enhance the flavor. I will say it's quite good. I've taken 4 bites already, and I'm gonna finish this slice.
Excellent. And I think someone's coming to visit, so
who's coming to dinner?
We're gonna sign off. Congratulations on making it to the end of this video.